Hello and welcome to my latest weekly video news from Madison's. Well, we are in September. Of course, at the end of this month, it's the end of the final stamp duty relief that was introduced. It's not a huge saving this month, £2,500. And when you're buying a property at £1 million, that can seem like a small amount of money, but of course it's a big amount of money. So lots of people still desperately trying to achieve it if they can. Removal companies are getting very booked up again throughout the month. And solicitors feeling the pressure of their clients to try and get them to exchange as quickly as they possibly can. But there feels like less of a precipice with this one. With the June deadline, that was a big £12,500 saving on top of obviously the £2,500 now. So £15,000 in total saving off your stamp duty. So we did have one deal collapse as a result of not meeting that. Don't have the same feeling with this. I think it will just be a bit of bitterness and soreness if it's missed, that you paid an extra £2,500 when you didn't have to. But therefore, what's going to happen after this? Of course, we've seen an enormous boom, which in part has certainly been helped by that stamp duty holidays introduced. But in my mind, is certainly not the big reason why the property boom has been as it was. And many of you will know that from my previous vlogs. There's definitely been a reassessment of home following the pandemic. Does the home deliver what I need it to? And I think that reassessment will continue as people now come into more established flexible working patterns and realise they maybe don't need to be so close to their place of work. Certainly they will be able to move out further and get more for their money, or simply need a property that gives them that work from home space. So I think that boom will certainly continue. I think it will continue into next year. The biggest issue is going to be stock levels. We simply have far too few properties for sale at the moment. As sellers are reluctant to go to market, often because they can't perceive that they are going to find their onward. If I had a magic wand or a crystal ball and could show all my potential sellers, don't worry, list your property and your dream property will come along, I promise you I would be listing lots and lots of properties for sale. So that classic supply and demand imbalance, you've got more demand from buyers wanting to move, less stock and supply from sellers being nervous and hunkering down on their moving plans, is leading to this price differential. So prices were up 13% for the last 12 months, far outweighing any stamp duty holiday benefits. And that supply issue is going to be the biggest problem. So market will stay strong, good prices will be achieved, stock levels will stay low, I think, as we go into 2022, and then it will gradually all start to become more normal again. So I'm looking forward to the busy autumn market. Schools obviously all gone back. My youngest went back yesterday, my middle child went back today. So we will start to see the inquiry levels pick up as the schools are back and people return to normality. I love the autumn market. It's good fun, it's short, it's sharp, it's sweet, and it has a real boom to it. So looking forward to September, October and November, and telling you all about the lovely properties that we'll be selling. One of the things that's believed to help the boom is the government incentives that have been introduced, and one of those obviously was the 95% mortgage. An interesting report out this week though from Trussell, they're a big mortgage broker firm, said that they'd had very, very little uptake of 95% mortgages. Interestingly, in March, their highest month for inquiries so far, inquiries for 95% mortgages were at 26%. But actually, when they look at the amount of their book that they actually took those 95% mortgages, it ran at just 1% of all the mortgages they agreed. And they put that down to two big reasons. Firstly, there's actually very few deals available from the lenders, and those lenders have very, very stringent lending criteria. So although they have good inquiry levels, they're often failing to get them passed. I think that will be looked at and addressed. The government will be keen to put pressure on lenders to make sure that they are entering into the spirit of those 95% mortgages. But interesting to see that that hasn't created as much of a boom as we might have expected. But I think watch this space, it hopefully will improve. Well, of course, the news has been filled with the tragic situation in Afghanistan, and I saw in our local paper that Tunbridge Wells is going to be housing 5 families, and there's enormous pressure on local authorities to house these families who have been sadly ripped from their home and looking for a safe place to stay. So there's been a call from many housing associations to private landlords, if they've got any empty properties, to let these families stay there. It's seen that the issue is huge, and just the local authority support alone will not address that. So private landlords out there being asked to help the cause and help those families in desperate need at the moment. Well, it was great to see Local and Live back last weekend. The Calverley Park was buzzing. We went over there a couple of times. Really, really good to get a sense of life returning to normal. And do have a look at this great website. It's called www.tunbridgewellsevents.co.uk, and it features all sorts of events coming up. You'll see there the theatres post their events, the Spa Valley Railway and other local festivals and events going on are always up there. So do look at that and support our local community. Be safe, obviously, at all times. But great to see that, and that website is a great source of information. Well, finally, as always, let's end with a great property that I've taken to market. This house at number 10 Mercers is truly deceptive. What you see from the front belies the size of the accommodation and the great plot that it occupies. One of the best plots I think I've seen in Langton Green, actually. It's a lovely corner plot. It's got a good southerly orientation, really secluded, lots of trees. You could be in the middle of nowhere and yet you're in a very popular road. Great walking distance to the primary school, the village centre, and of course Tunbridge Wells, which is not far away at all. It's on at a guide price of $900,000. It's a really, really great property. You need to have a look at it to appreciate all it's got to offer. So if that's of interest, give us a call. Well, I hope you have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye bye.